annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now.
A week away. I am excited. The draft is upon us. The draft party is upon us. I'm Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises.
I'm Stephanie from Dope Soul Sports Talk and the Queen's Court, of course.
That's right. And this is the crossover.
This is the crossover.
Appreciate you guys for joining us.
Absolutely.
Peace, Queen. Oh man, I feel like this has been a busy week for us. You know, the triple header on Monday.
The show tonight.
You was on last night.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah, anybody who has not subscribed to Dope Soul Sports Talk or Knicks and Bruises, we're trying to get those subscriptions up. So like, subscribe, comment, share, you know what I mean? And we appreciate you guys for sure.
And shout out to Casoto, who got me close to my watch hours.
That's a whole fact. That's a whole fact. So we did the big board this week. I talked about the media and how they're still taking shots at the Knicks. I can't even think. We talked about so much.
Yeah, on Dope Soul last night we talked about if there was any draft prospects that we liked better than players that we already have on our team. And I think that's it for this week in terms of what's been going on across the MBK channel. I know Josh had a show, but that was last week, right? I think that was last week.
Yes, I believe it was last week. He had his guest on. I forget right. His name, but shout out to Josh as well. Julio. Josh was on the panel Monday.
Yeah. Yes.
We had Who's Mark in the whole triple.
We talked about second year prospects also.
Okay.
On second year centers on the Queen's Court.
That's right.
You was there. Right. We had Mark.
Yeah, second round picks.
Yep. Who was getting on me for Butler, asking me where I dug him up.
Oh man. And then there's been a couple of rumors and things going on around the league. A lot of people have picked up on the Knicks potential in moving up for Jaden Ivey. I think we talked about that last week.
Yes, we did.
That's still a hot topic. I'm all for it. Hopefully the asking price is not too much, but I think it would be centered around picks. I really do. And maybe one young guy. So I wouldn't mind that. But we're gonna lead with let's lead with the big board, and if there's any changes in that, and we'll keep it brief. Maybe top three. Has the top three in your big board change? Or
mine has.
Okay.
Mine has. Because now it's Mathurin 1, Dyson 2, Doran 3. And I think the last time we spoke, I don't even remember now who was
Johnny Davis.
Johnny Davis, that's correct. Johnny Davis 3. And now Johnny Davis is in 4. I just really like him. And I think we have a little bit about of what Johnny Davis gives us, but in terms of Doran, especially if Mitch doesn't re-sign in free agency at 18 years old, what he's able to do. And I saw, just researching him, saw a little bit of his face-up game, saw a little bit of his post game. He needs to get better in that respect. Don't get me wrong. But it's there to be developed. And physically, he's strong. He's already, I think, 250 pounds at 18 years old. He doesn't turn 19 until November. So I think that if Mitch walks, it might take maybe his second year for him to start. But if he had to be pressed into duty, he'd probably get into foul trouble. He'd probably have some growing pains. But by the end of the season, I think he would be a contributor for us.
Is that the only circumstance as far as in which you would pick him at that point if we know Mitch is gone, or um or we know that we're not worried about re-signing him, and we'll either work out the sign and trade or lose him.
That's a very good question. If Mitch resigned, would I use the 11th pick on Durant? Probably not, because I think Mitch is going to command center minutes. And at that point, I would be looking for a backup center that can shoot and stretch
Hmm.
the floor a little bit so that we have some versatility at that position. Because as much as I like Sims, he gives us pretty much the same thing when he comes in, except the perimeter defense.
So all right, let me rephrase the question. If Oh man, there's a fly in here. I'm sorry, it's gonna bug me out. Um, if you are unsure if the negotiation is gonna work out, right? Do you grab him as an insurance policy, knowing there's still a possibility
Hmm.
of you bringing Mitch back, or do you grab him and then say, my goal is to um do a sign and trade. So Mitch, wherever you go, we'll figure out something
Right.
to get you that 5th year.
I think at this point in the game, we should not be talking about insurance policy. At this point in the game, a week out from Mitch having to sign on June 30th, the Knicks should be extremely clear at this point whether or not um, Mitch is going to return or not.
So
Unless the front office is not, excuse me, his camp is not giving them
and
any indication,
and
not
that's what.
communicating at all with them.
So at that point, do you say I'm moving on, whether I lose him or not, or whether I can utilize
That's
a sign and trade or not, or
yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's a very
Because
good question. The Knicks have
because
a choice too.
because grabbing a guy and having that mindset, it may be the right thing, but it also may push him even further away. And then you know what I mean. So
I get
yeah,
it.
what do you think?
I think if the camp again, I think the Knicks have an indication. I think the Knicks have put their offer on the table. I'm guessing, but I think the Knicks have put their offer on the table, and Mitchell Robinson and their camp are waiting to see if they can get something more in free agency before doubling back and accepting it or not. Um, I doubt that they have no indication of what they're leaning. If they don't, I'm taking Duran. Like if they have not been communicating with me, if I have no idea what they're going to do, what their strategy is, I don't think it's something that I can chance by not drafting him and losing Mitch. That being said, front offices usually have one, two, or three backup plans, right?
Hmm.
Usually, they do. But yeah, if I'm not clear on what Mitch is potentially going to do, I'm grabbing Endurin, and at that point, I'm not re-signing him, even if he does double back.
Okay. My big board changed it as well. Um, Dyson is still one. I really like Malachi, and Malachi is
I
is
can't argue
is
with you.
is moving up. I don't know if he's 2 or 3 for me.
Hmm.
Jalen Williams, I've come to the consensus, as much as I like him, he's in another category that we're gonna talk about next. So he kind of fell out of my top 3 at 11.
Hmm.
And who was my other guy? Um,
Um, Bennett was Matherin your guy or Davis?
it was Davis, and Mathurin. I like. I just think I don't know if he's gonna be there at 11. If
Right.
he's there though, I think you could say Mathurin, Malachi, or Malachi Mathurin.
Hmm.
It could go either way for me. I like them both at that spot for
Hmm.
different reasons. Some of the same reasons, but
Hmm.
age obviously, and in my opinion, that gives a more potential,
Hmm.
because he's younger, and then just his numbers as a freshman, they just pop out to me that I really like Malachi. So I'll say Malachi Mathurin, even though that's not a popular opinion.
Mallet, you know what I like about him, that he's just so smooth. He's just really smooth with his game, can get to his spots, has a really silky shot. His shot reminds me a little bit of Jabari Smith, not necessarily the height or the release, but just how smooth it is. Um, I can't argue with Branham as well. His comp has been Middleton, though he's not as tall as Middleton.
Hmm.
In terms of his mid-range game, he's really good in the mid-range. I like him, and he can get to the basket as well. He can shoot. He can shoot the three. He's a three-level scorer, and I think he'll improve defensively. I think the question with him is, which is similar to what we talked about last night on Dope Soul, would he beat out
Beat
any
out
of the
somebody.
wings we already have and make his way into the rotation, or would he be a duplication?
But the thing I like about him,
Mhm.
again, I'm gonna say it again, his age. So at 18, if he beats somebody out,
Mhm.
applaud him. You know what I mean? That's better for us. If he
Mhm.
doesn't, he's 18. You know what I mean? Let this kid uh maturate and mature.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I mean? And he has all the time in the world at the age being a rookie and some if he doesn't beat somebody out, that means he's learning from these guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
He could figure things out. And I mean, I, I don't believe it, but the consensus around is whoever we draft might not even play under Tibbs immediately. He's gonna have to earn his spot and not just earn it in the preseason and the training camp. More than
Mhm.
likely, he's gonna have to earn it over time. So I don't know if he'll even be out there immediately
Mhm.
unless he, like you said, really just outperforms somebody and beats them out. But
Yeah.
it's an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Next topic I wanted to get into is potential sleepers, potential move down candidates.
Mhm.
Um, and for me, that's where my guy Jalen Williams. I'm really high on him.
Mhm.
If there's a chance, I think guys are gonna slide regardless. We already see Johnny Davis sliding on some mock drafts.
Mhm.
He just slid a spot down on your big board.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He slid a spot on mine as well. So I think we're in a position where, knowing what the Knicks do, if they move down, we can still get quality player
Mhm.
or players
Mhm.
if we're acquiring a second asset. And if the guy is gonna be there down there, I don't put it past the Knicks at grabbing them. So that's where Jalen Williams slid for me. I really
Mhm.
like this guy. You talk about smooth. He's another one that's just a smooth basketball player. Um, Gives me Karis LeVert vibes, but I think even better facilitator than Karis LeVert. And probably a better defender or just as good as the defender as Karis LeVert right now.
I've
So
heard I've heard I've heard Harden comparisons, and apparently his current coach
mhm,
coached Harden at some point.
that's right. That's right. Um I try to stay away from those
Yeah,
because
that's a
I
big one.
I know how I know how the chat will get where
Right, 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 right.
I've been there before. You know what I mean? Usually I stand on what I feel anyway. And I like the comp. I'll be honest though, I didn't watch much of Harden coming into the draft. You know what I mean? Like Harden was
Mhm.
one of those guys that I think at that point I didn't really watch too much college basketball. I watched highlights and maybe the ESPN games or something.
Mhm.
So I didn't see too much of Harden. But yeah, that's a great comp. I really like this kid. Because the comp it was college Harden or young, like not Harden now, but Harden then.
Right.
Is that right? Okay, so but yeah, I like this guy. And then apparently the Knicks worked out MarJon
Can I get my sleeper first?
Beauchamp. All right, yeah, absolutely.
My sleeper or trade down candidate, and we would probably have to trade a little further down. I don't even think he's ranked as high as Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara, who I also like. We got to say that because there's a Jalen Williams out of
That's true.
Arkansas who's a power
That's
forward
that's
slash
true.
center. Um, I've been looking at him today. I got to do a bit more work on him, and that's Darren Terry out of Arizona. Played with Benedict Mathurin and Coloco. I really like this kid. I really like this kid. 6'7", um, can shoot the three, can defend 1 through 3, and he's a playmaker as well. He can pass the ball as well. And if we weren't exposed to any of the hype,
Hmm.
and you looked at Dyson Daniels and you looked at Darren Terry,
Hmm.
you'd probably be like, wow, I don't really see a lot of difference. I have to probably look, a little further. He's thinner though. He's thin. I think 195 pounds at 6'7", but he's athletic as well. He's really good in transition, can make the alley-oop pass, can make the backdoor pass. He's a playmaker. And when you think about positionless basketball, even if we get a point guard, having 2s and 3s that can also not just make a pass, but has vision that can
Playmaking.
pass you into a shot. Um, so if we traded down and we was able to get Darren Terry, I'm happy. I like him.
Shout out to the chat. Um, I see there's some people out here that share your sentiments on them. I'm gonna have to look them up. I always like looking at these guys that everybody's talking about, and I can honestly say not everyone's talking about because this is the first time I've really heard
Yeah.
his name. So shout out to you Queen, shout out to Sha, and shout out to oh my God, Jarrell.
Yeah, and give us some. Yeah, Jarrell rocking with us on Dope
I know
Soul every Tuesday night. Resident panelist, appreciate him.
he got
And
he
he
got.
know it's college
I was
basketball.
gonna say he gonna throw some stats in there in a second. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is.
But if there's
Um,
any other sleepers, first round or second round sleepers that the chat is aware of, I'm preparing for the and I'm sure Tony is too, the draft party next week because we got to be able to talk about everybody, not just who we're drafting. So if
that's
there's
right.
any first or second round sleepers, throw it up in the chat that you want me to take a look at it, and I'll write it down and
Matter
do
of
some
fact,
more work this weekend.
we just put the link up. So if you want
Mhm.
to join in and
Mhm.
speak, tell us who you like as a sleeper trade down candidate, or you could briefly give your big board. I'll say let's limit it to answering one question,
Right.
and but your choice. It could be the big board. It could be the sleeper.
Mhm.
Um,
How come when I put a link in the chat, it's never highlighted? It's never a hyperlink.
I
I gotta
I
figure it out.
I don't know. You doing it right from StreamYard, right?
No, I was putting a link for my channel.
Ah, I don't know.
Shout
We
shout,
we
shout out
got
Allies Taryn Armstrong. I'll look him up.
we're gonna have to talk to Sim and
Right.
get a
Get a
new
tutorial.
there you go. There you go. So my guy that I wouldn't mind picking up if in a trade down situation is MarJon Beauchamp. Before I get into that though, let me introduce Jay Boogie. And let me let you know, I see you in the chat
No,
on
you don't.
Monday, man.
No, you don't.
I don't have the number. I don't have the number in my phone.
I
So
I
you
know who
guys
got it.
you
I know who
guys
No,
got
I
it.
do. I do have. Listen, Boogie. You got to give me some slack. Everybody in NBK know what my memory is like. I'll forget something in a minute.
and
Hey, I
and
just put it in the chat just now.
I tried to highlight it that day on Monday, and you know what I mean. It was a busy show, man. But
I'm
I
gonna take care of it
appreciate you.
right now.
It's
Appreciate you
okay. Y'all
joining.
go. Y'all, I come up to the draft party next week just to get the number and leave.
How about just come up to the draft party next week and just come? How about that? We'd love
What's
to
going
have you
on?
there.
What's
All right.
going on
I,
with y'all?
I just sent it. I just sent it.
Thank you. What's going on with y'all? How y'all doing? blessings and blessings to everybody in the orange and blue rocking this thing that we all love. You know what I'm saying? Putting our minds and our thoughts together. It's narrowing down. It's getting close. There's somebody's prediction over these last 2 weeks. You're gonna win $100,000 if you picked it right somewhere. That's the Baker's odds.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean, I'm excited, about the draft to see what the Knicks are gonna do. But I got to be honest, I'm excited about the draft party. Freezy's gonna be there. I'll get a chance to meet him. I am Jarrell. I'll get a chance to meet him. And there's a few other people that'll be there that I'll meet for the first time. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about that too.
it's gonna
Yeah,
be lit.
that's great. I haven't written it off about making a trip. I'm just trying to make the proper reservations for us. When I leave out, everything is situated here. Then I'm gonna come up. I
Right.
and and rock with the rest of the family and all, because I would love to meet y'all too. You know what I'm saying? Even though I already know y'all, you know what I'm saying, but is it different to get some dap hug, get some laughter,
Right. Right. Right.
feel one another, you know what I'm saying? But TC, man, I'm rocking with you a whole lot, man. I'm real big on Malachi, you know what I'm saying? Real big. Because I be telling guys, everybody that they got being drafted before him between 5 all the way up to us, because I think they got him like 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there. All them guys that's number 5 coming up that play his role, he has a piece of every one of their games. And what I mean by that ain't nothing he can't do, but I see a lot of things that some of them other guys can't do, but he can do. You know what I'm saying? He got the total package. And like you say, he's smooth. Yeah, the boy can ball. Freshman of the year inside, you know what I'm saying? In their conference, you know what I'm saying? The boy can ball, and that's what we need. Ballers, guys that can pretty much do everything. And when you say, I think 18, that what you say? 18? Come on, man. Come on, 18. I'm real high on him far as as a sleeper, you know what I'm saying? But something is gonna fall right in our laps, you know what I'm saying? Where we feel like, grandma used to jump up in her lap and sit down, you feel good about being in grandma's lap. That's how our lap is right now between somebody's gonna fall up in the big grandma's lap and we're gonna be good with it. It's just that, just don't, jump out the window to go do something that can possibly just fall right there to you, man. But I'm happy. I'm excited about everything that's going on, man, right now.
I mean, one of the things, and I talked about this yesterday, my concern is that when we get to 11, a few of the picks we've been talking about is there, and the Knicks go in a totally different direction. I think that would be disappointing. And like pick somebody that like, who is this? Not necessarily who is this guy, but other guys on the board that at least we think have a higher ceiling. But we're not the professionals, so I guess I'll have to rock with it. But I do see the Knicks doing something like that, like, huh? Over Johnny Davis? Over
The
Doran?
the only way I don't see that happen if there's 5 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys that we us our big boys and they all still there, then I really see them moving down.
Right.
But it would be nuts, and that would just be our luck and give us something to complain about all night. But we'll have the next day to kind of let it sink in and do the next podcast and kind of maybe settle our thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we do know the fan favorite moves. The three moves it is, one would be to trade up to go get that boy, Ivy. That's a fan favorite right there. Outside of that, number 2, I think it'll be on the boy Ben Matthews from Arizona. That'll be number 2. And number 3 is Mr. Taco himself. Those 3 scenarios right there, those are pretty much fan favorites going around the New York equator, you know what I'm saying? But just in case out of that, it's about 3 other guys that we can grab, and a center would be in those other 3 guys too. But those are those 1, 2, 3. Those are the 3 fan favorites. You know what I'm saying? Choices. And it seems like everybody pretty much is liking and everything. But outside of that, if that doesn't matter, if it doesn't, if it doesn't, it come to us, then we have to make a different choice. But I really do got a feeling that pink suit is getting ready to wind up, wearing an orange and blue suit. That Mr. Taco himself, So we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
It definitely feels like it. It definitely feels like it. And I'm not mad with him again, but I think there's just some guys that are above him in my preference. But yeah, J Boog, Appreciate you, John. You wanna stay in the background for a little bit? We'll see if anybody else want to join.
Nah, I just wanted to jump. I didn't want to be long, so I just grabbed some pizza. I'm getting ready to go home and watch the WNBA. I think the 30 for 30 situation I got being pre-recorded. I gotta go tune into that, man. But just my last thing I'm gonna say is, it's a great thing that we didn't feel like we missed on the draft pick. We knew we was gonna come in 11th. It wasn't like we all hyped for Zion and we didn't get that pick and everything. We wasn't hyped for a number and miss. So we're right where we at. So we're in a good stage, man. But y'all have a blessed night, man. I still be in the chat listening, man. Y'all keep doing what you do, rocking on. Queen, everything is already done. My engineer got some finger arm problems that he had to go deal with the medical and stuff, but it's pretty much done. I just got to get up in there. So just let you know where we at. But God bless you. And I got your number too, Tony C. She
I
sent
see.
it.
I seen the link. I appreciate you.
No
We
doubt, man.
we we, we gonna talk.
No doubt. Keep doing what y'all doing. Love y'all, man. Y'all have a blessed night.
Salute.
Peace. Chat.
Triple S. Oh man, J Bug. Shout out to J Bug. Always a pleasure to have him in here. Anybody else want to join in? The link is in there. I'll put it back up in a minute, but it's in there if you wanna look for it. MarJon Beauchamp, I believe is the pronunciation. Another G League Ignite affiliate, 22 years old, 6'6", 190 pounds. Let's see. He averaged 15 points. What else we got here? Only 6 rebounds, 5.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1.6 steals, zero point 0.9 blocks. It seems like the more I watch these G League games
Mm-hmm.
and highlights, the more I like Daniels, the more I like this gentleman, and the more I like Hardy,
Mm-hmm.
and the more I feel like the future of the G League is really like intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, this guy is a defender off the back, uh, a slasher, a finisher. Got to work on his jump shot for sure,
Yes.
and I think that's probably the low mark for him. And creating off the dribble,
And
you,
creating.
you know what
Right.
I mean. I think he can create in the paint very well, at least from the games and the highlights that I've seen. He's very adept in the paint and figuring out how to finish and find his way to the rim. Whether it be a dunk or just some athletic move. He's super athletic as well.
Let me ask you a question about him. Oh,
Mhm.
no, finish
I mean,
talking
I,
about
I I think the big thing for him is defense. You know what I mean? I think he's a guy that immediately could hold his hat there. It has the potential to guard some of the better NBA players throughout the league, especially as time goes on. Um, and we need a guy like that. I think we're kind of missing it. We hope that it would be RJ. We've seen him attempt it and look good at times, but overall, maybe that's taking away from his
Mm-hmm.
strength and maybe giving that job to someone else would be more vital.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the more I like this guy, the more I see this guy, the more I like him. And I think that the jump shot is not necessarily broken. I think he'd be much better in the catch and shoot situation rather than shooting off the dribble. That's something that I see that would have to develop over time. But
Right.
immediately, I think catch and shoot will be a better option. 3 and D guy
Mm-hmm.
would be a better option and focusing on that set shot as opposed to creating. But yeah, I really like this guy as well, and he's another candidate of moving down, preferably picking up a second pick where you can get him and another guy and kind of get 2 chances to see if somebody pops.
The
What do you
only
know
thing,
about him and what you think?
I the little bit that I know about him is that you're right. He's a very good defender. His 3-point shooting needs to improve. I think he only shot 24, 25% in the G League, But apparently, the year before in community college, he shot 39.8%.
Yeah.
So probably somewhere in between is his floor. Um, the question I have though is a lot of fans don't like don't like Eason, don't like Sohan because they're mostly defenders
Mm-hmm.
that offense needs to come around
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I've been hearing about MarJon as well. Or do you think that his offense is a little bit ahead of Sohan and Eason?
I was waiting for you to finish it, but that's exactly what I was gonna say. I think
Okay.
he's number one. He's way more fluent than those two gentlemen. Maybe not Easton, because I'm super high on Easton as well.
Hmm.
I really like him as well, and I'm probably will put Easton ahead of this gentleman at this particular point, only because I just started doing my research on him.
Hmm.
So I don't want to have him jump a guy like Easton that I've seen. I've watched maybe a week's worth of
Tape on him.
tape on
Hmm.
him.
Hmm.
But you mentioned the JUCO, and he averaged what 30 points, 10 rebounds, 4.8 assists
Hmm.
in the JUCO. Yes, it's a JUCO, but that
Hmm.
also tells me that that potential is there. You're looking at a guy who played in the JUCO and dominated, and then moved on to the G League, which, in my opinion, is it's a better. You could judge a guy better from the G League, in my opinion, than you can from the college game. And
Hmm.
and came into the college game, still averaged 50. I mean, excuse me, from the college game, still averaged 15. Still averaged what was it, 1.6 steals, 1.9 blocks, 1.6 assists. So I think he's NBA ready. More than some of these guys that are going to be picked higher in the lottery and in the first round based off potential. But yeah, I would put him above Sohan personally. I don't know what it is. Maybe
Hmm.
Sohan is just like, I don't mind him if we got him at a lower pick, but I don't really like him at 11. I don't like
Right.
him in the lottery for us. You
Right.
know what I
But
mean?
that's the same when MarJon as well,
Yeah,
right? He would go
yeah, but
that
I
way.
don't know if the consensus seems to be that Sohan's gonna go higher than
Oh, I
than
see.
than my liking. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think this guy we could get in the late first,
Right.
22, 25, somewhere around there.
Right.
Similar to what we've done in the past.
Right.
But yeah, let my guy,
Right.
Mr. Ron from Still Knicks fan in the building. Um, and I'm gonna leave you alone, brother, because it seems as diehard Mr. Ebru himself has accepted a challenge to play 1-on-1. So no more duck jokes. I don't know if you was picking up on my subtle comments
I see what I see you. I see
throughout
you.
the various chats and videos, but it's all love and it's all fun and games, my brother. Um,
Nah, brother. I see you. I see you. I was like, nah, man. You go. He trying to get me out here, but I ain't trying to tear an Achilles playing Tony. I'm like, I'm good. How you
but
doing, man?
welcome to the crossover. I think you've been once before on the crossover, but even if you haven't, you've been on Knicks and Bruises, you've been on Dope Souls, so you've been on Queens Court, and you're part of the team. So welcome.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
you for having
Welcome.
me. What's up, Steph? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I've been I haven't been on a MBK group up in a minute, man. I'm kind of lost in the sauce. I've been trying to do what I can. It's been a little busy, but it's been great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see you out there.
Hey, I'm here. I'm here. I got my ear to the streets.
uh,
Yeah, man. This is I'm excited, bro. The draft is coming, and then more importantly, the draft party seems to be shaking up, man. It's good. I
Yeah.
was just excited to do it again from last year. That was fun enough, but now
Right.
we got all these other people that are gonna be popping up. This is gonna be dope.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Shoot, and
Man.
I think the very next day I'm gonna be excited about the third annual. You know what I mean? Start figuring out what we gonna do. You know, I might need a rematch. You know, if Ebro kicks my butt,
Hey
we'll
man,
see.
listen. I don't know if you saw my post that I put. I said, look, if Sim is willing to lend me the shooting machine, that we got a deal, man. I'll take you all. I need that shooting machine. That shooting machine is right.
You might have to travel to use it. Yeah, go do a visit out there. But now which segment did you want to speak on? And of course you're part of MBK fam, so you're welcome to stay as long as you like. You know what I mean?
I
You know,
appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all.
but
Nah, I mean, whatever you guys are chopping it up about, I'm cool with. I think right now you guys were talking about was it Malachi Branham?
No, MarJon.
Oh no, I'm
MarJon
sorry, MarJon
Beauchamp.
Beauchamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I actually it. I tell you, I know a lot of people are feeling a certain way about this draft because they keep hearing it's not that good. It's not that. Let me tell you something. The more and more that we've done, taking a look at the draft stuff and the analysis of these guys, this draft is a very solid draft. It
Yeah.
may not be transitional stars that jump out at you, but
Right.
there's a lot of guys that look like they could be around in the NBA for a minute. So
Absolutely.
it's tough. And I think honestly, man, I don't know what the Knicks are gonna do because there's so many different ways you could go, and I'd be happy. You want to go
Right.
Malachi Branham? I'm cool. You want to go Johnny Davis? Great. You want to go I mean obviously move up, go Ivy, fantastic.
Right.
I love there's so many different guys during I mean there's so many. And then if you want to get funky, like if they were able to trade down and go like 13, 15, I know that's like the dream pick. If you could get it,
Right.
you get it.
Right.
But if they could get that and take like they could go with like a Jovic and
Mhm.
then still go get the dynamic like athletic player that they want with 15 or vice versa. There's so
Right.
many different ways you can do things if you got the right mix because
Right.
there's so many interesting players. That's why I'm happy that we did the draft series at
Mhm.
Still Nick fans because I'm learning all about these players that I wouldn't even pay attention to if I wasn't
Right.
doing this.
Right. Right. Right.
And I've been saying for about 2 weeks now, I think this draft, when it's all said and done, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road, they're gonna go back and say, "Oh no, this was a great draft." You know what I mean? Like this wasn't a low key draft. Like it was low key good, and a lot of people I think are sleeping on some of the lower picks and mid round picks. Um, so I think some of those guys you named are, I'm assuming, are on your big board.
Yeah, man. My big board is crazy. My big board.
Let, let,
If
let
you
me
want
get your top three. Excuse me.
top three, well, I mean the top three is not that sexy because it's a lot of people's top three. It's Ivy, it's Matherin, and it's Johnny Davis. That's my top three.
But two of them we might not have a chance. Two of them we might not have a chance at. Ivy and I'm hearing Matherin won't be there at 11.
Yeah, I think it's very tough for the Knicks to really think about touching those two guys if they don't move up. Now the only thing is, what's interesting is there's an outside slim chance that Johnny Davis would be there at 11. I don't even think he will. I think
I
he's
think
going 10, 9,
Mm,
something like
like
that.
right above.
Yeah,
Okay.
right
mm,
before us, and that's gonna break our heart again. Steph Curry all over again. Not really, but
Yeah,
you know what I
mm.
mean.
but you know what? My three, Doran
He-
has moved ahead of Johnny Davis for me. Johnny
Really?
Davis was three on my board. Doran has moved ahead, but I think that has a lot to do with what we need. Like some of these picks in a vacuum, you could say, Johnny Davis. You can argue he's going to
so,
have a higher, upside, maybe a better career. But I'm not talking in a vacuum. I'm talking about if we can get Doran and we don't re-sign Mitch, I'm happy. I'm happy with him. I really like him. And I forgot Tony had Branham, I think, ahead of Davis now. That's a
yeah,
big
I do. I do.
wow.
I
Wow.
do.
Well, I mean, I'll
Wow.
be honest with you. Like the Duran, I can understand it. I get it. The only thing I think is a little funky is if somehow the Knicks are able to keep Mitch.
Yes.
We
That's
just
gonna
spoke
be
about
that's
that.
gonna
Yeah,
be a
we
little
were speaking
wild.
about
I don't
that.
know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
great. It's a nice problem to have,
Right.
but it's almost like you feel like you could have used that pick on something
On
of
something else. Yeah.
something else of value.
I
But
mean, at that point, let me ask then. At that point, if that happens, because I'm still a firm believer that we have to bring somebody who kind of changes, who brings something, a dynamic that we don't have. Um, is Durant going to be able to stretch the floor at all? I
A
think he
little.
has
I
a
don't think
mid
he's.
range.
Yeah, he's not gonna hit the three. He's not gonna hit the three. But I think he'll be better in the post than Mitch. And he could face up and hit that jump shot. But he has to get better at it. I mean,
yeah,
he definitely has to be, but that offensive potential is there, and he's only 18 and he has
And
the body already.
I'll say this. I ain't gonna lie. I was high on Durant early. I think part of me, because I like Mitch so much, I was kind of just leaving it alone because
Right.
I don't want to be the guy that's talking about moving on from Mitch. Not at this point. You know what I mean? I really like Mitch, but
Right. But if they take him, I think that means that they're gonna move on from him.
and that's what I was gonna say. Even if we have them both, right? I think Mitch will be able to move Mitch after signing him. I don't know how soon we gotta. Excuse me, 1 second. You leaving?
I don't
I
even
don't.
think. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I don't know. I think we'll still be able to move Mitch. It seems like a lot of teams have interest in him anyway.
But the draft is first, so you don't even have to sign him. The draft
Well,
is first.
that is true. That is true. That is true. Sign and
but
trade though.
the only thing
I
I
hope
think
we don't
about
sign and trade
is
if we decide not
we
to.
already was on the fence with Mitch, right? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? And if he decides to actually stay, um, I don't, because the draft would be first. So if Mitch stays, that means Mitch knows he ain't going nowhere. He ain't signing a deal with the Knicks. I think under the pretense that because I think at that point he'd be like, I'm not going to go through the hassle. Either I'm doing a sign and trade from the jump, or I'm signing to be a Knick. And I think if you trade him after that, like if they did have Duran and trade him after that, that's going to leave a bad taste. And I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
it would. I don't think it would, only because it would have to be a sign and trade anyway.
Well, okay.
It wouldn't. If we did the extension, then we can't trade him for a year. You know what I mean? A year from the extension date. If so like Queen said, we wait till after the 30th. He's a unrestricted free agent. Now we just have the leverage in which we can do the sign and trade, so he gets that 5th year for whatever team he's going to. So
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like now, if we're just saying, if we're extending him before the 30th after the draft, and we drafted Durant, now we're stuck with him for at least a year, and we can't move him for at least a year. Um, and I think that would be the weirdest situation of it all, what you were describing, and at that point, I still would wonder: is Sims becoming expendable? Are we trying to like kind of move him to bring somebody who has a different dynamic, or can stretch the floor a little bit further, or do these guys work on it? I heard Duran was shooting threes at his pro day. I heard the same about Mark Williams, which is interesting. And
I heard the same about Mitch.
Oh,
I gotta see it in the game for me to believe it with Mitch. Now, like I'm done. I'm done with the high school gym exciting me. You know what I
right.
mean? He's been here 4 years, and we haven't seen it. And honestly, I want him to improve his free throw before I even care about him shooting a
Oh,
3-point
yeah.
shot.
That's
And,
true. Whenever you get excited about Mitch and then somebody bring up 44% or whatever it was, you like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
That's tough. That's tough.
That's tough.
so the last segment, the segment that I seen most of you guys in the chat early on before we even went live, talking about, and let me just preface this by saying the Julius Randle keep them or dump them is still coming. This is just to feed the buzz, you know. This is just to kind of get you guys from getting so antsy. But my question, you know, without getting too deep into it, is it the right time to move on from Randle and trade him? And more specifically, if you could pick your own brain and think about, you know, has there really been a time where a team has traded their best player and ended up being better? Because I do believe Randle is our best player. And the only instance that I really came up with was the Golden State Warriors moving Monty Ellis and actually becoming a better team for whatever reason, whether that was fit, you know, obviously that was Steph on the team, taking around, you know, young Steph. But that's the only instance that I could really think where, all right, we talking about a guy that was averaging 25, you know what I mean, was borderlining all-star in 1 year, out 1 year, in consideration, you know what I mean, had some perceived attitude issues. I say perceived for him, not for Randle. I think the Randle thing, obviously we all saw it. But that was the only instance that I could come up with. You know, I go through my brain. I'm like, all right, let's think about best players on teams that got traded. And all right, AD. You may argue that they're better now, but were they better when they moved them initially?
Yeah.
You know, Kawhi. I don't know if you considered him the best player on that team at that point when they moved him. I think I did, and I don't think they got better. Um, you know, I could go on and on, but again, so you guys, and then the chat as well, if anybody wants to join this panel for this discussion. Do you think we should move on from Randle now? Is now the time to do it? And is there instance that you could think of where, you know, a team traded their best player and then actually got better?
I mean, I think to the first part of your question, I don't think it's the right time. I think his value is low. I don't think you're going to get what you can get. I think if you're going to move on for him, allow him to recoup some of his value, and then you could trade him before the trade deadline. I think that also gives us a little more time to see what we have. Like we have a lot of young players who really haven't separated themselves other than RJ. So I'm really interested in this season coming up. We get some better separation to see, you know, who's a keeper, who we might want to, you know, move on from or not. We'll just have a better sense of who we have. And I think, you know, Randall, he knows, you know, Um, he knows. So he has to do something and more than it's great that he's in shape. He's looking really lean and that's a big part of it. I don't think he was in his best shape. But there's other things that need to happen in terms of his leadership and his mentality. Um, so I'm not sure how high his value is around the league right now. So I don't know if this was the right time. However, if somebody wants to bite and the package is good and we're a better team, then you do it.
Yeah. Um, Kavan, my only thing to that is because I agree they did become a better team, but one could argue they also got the better player in the trade. So it was an upgrade when they made that trade, and I don't think we move Randle and get a better player. Um, we might get a better fit, which will in turn may make the team actually better, but I don't think we actually get a better player. Um, Ron, you could jump in, and then I'm gonna
Well,
give a just a few guys that I think, you know, maybe we could move Randall for if that's the direction we're going, and maybe a better fit.
yeah. I mean, excuse me. I still kind of think that I guess it depends on what the Knicks feel about the talent they still have on this team outside of Randall, and how invested are they in Obi? Because I think if they're heavily invested in Obi, and we've already seen that Obi's the type of player that he doesn't detract from your team as far as ball movement. He's in the scheme of the flow of the game. So, and when he's on the court, if you're basically kind of running things not through him, but he's a focal point, he doesn't hurt the team. So they're able to move. So if you were to trade Randall, like to move up to say get a fourth pick or something like that, or even a seventh pick, um, it's it's about the pick, and it's about if there's any player that you can get back that you can use and plug in now that would kind of help with some of the production you lose from getting rid of Randall. Now, I think just the idea of having Obi play starter minutes is going to replace some of what Randall can give you. But Obi's not the strongest rebounder, so I think you would have to make sure you get somebody on this team that can handle the rebounding load. Because even outside of RJ, the guards don't rebound that well on this team either. So it depends on how you look at things. Like you might trade Randall in a different pick that's not even draft related, and still keep your 11th pick. And if you're able to trade him for some type of usable, point guard or somebody that can help you in that area, and then you're still able to draft a guy like Johnny Davis, who averaged 8.5 rebounds in college at being 6'5", he gravitates to the ball. So it helps. Like, you just got to figure out a way to kind of make up for what he's giving you, while figuring out the best scheme for your team and what you got, so that they get better. It's better ball movement. It's better pace. You got to get something's got to be better out of this whole thing if you're going to move them, in my opinion.
Right. The one thing I will say though is I'm not adverse to moving Randall, but I don't think Obi is going to give you anything near what Randall gave you. I just don't think he's at that level yet. So I agree with you, Ron, in the sense that you have to construct the team in a way where you're getting your offense from other places, and Obi can start and do what he does.
Mhm.
But in terms of like running offense through him and what have you, I don't know if he's at that point right now. But if you're stronger at those other positions, RJ, whoever you have at the one and whatever, and Obi can hit the three, run the floor, be in transition, and those sorts of things, I think that bodes well for him. I think trying to run any type of offense through
Yeah,
him, I
no,
think that's a bit too much right now.
I think he meant more of not replacing his role, but replacing some of the numbers, some
Yeah,
of the numbers.
yes. If
I
we're
think that's
running
Yeah,
what.
and
yeah.
it's a faster pace, we can. But this is another point I want to make also about pace. We have to keep in mind that this is not synchronized swimming and this is not gymnastics where you're going to get points just because you're running and it's free flowing and it looks better. At the end of the day, you still have to put the ball in the hoop, and you got to have those guys that can do that. So I like the Knicks do look better when they're flowing and what have you, but I'm not sure how many wins we got out of it. And the second point I want to make is anytime, forget Randall. Anytime you have a star or a number one option, the ball is going to stop when it
Mhm.
gets to them. It happens with Harden. It happens with KD. It happens with anybody on this team. If RJ becomes that guy, it's going to happen with him. It's not going to be a free flowing, equal opportunity offense. At some point, the ball is going to stop with whoever your guy is, and he's going to set up his shot. A
And
lot of times we see free flowing is because you don't have a star. So you have to keep moving the ball and trying to find the open guy.
and for the most part, it's gonna be that way. Like regardless, you talk about the playoffs where the game slows down anyway. So transition then becomes limited, and it becomes a half court. And then once you're in a half court, you at some point you're gonna have to find a guy that you can give the ball to and then get out his way and let him work and let him get you a bucket.
But I agree, Randle's not that guy, though. I agree with
Oh,
that.
now my only retort to that, and not saying there's no star on the team, but I think Golden State, you know what I mean, they were that team that kind of pushed the envelope with the ball movement. You know what I mean? And kind of, it's like, dang, they can really beat you by just moving the ball consistently. You know what I mean? And maybe the old Spurs run, you know,
But at
young.
some point, it came back to their
Oh yeah,
guys,
well,
though.
absolutely.
Right.
It's always gonna at some point.
Yeah.
I just think that, the other thing too is because this NBA is changing so much, the ball movement teams, certain teams just can do it, and it doesn't matter what the defense is doing, they're still able to move that ball and run at that speed. Like Golden State is obviously the best at it.
Right.
Memphis was doing pretty well at it. And Nah, I think that was probably it, because I was thinking Dallas had moments, but when Luke is on his thing,
Oh
he
my
kind of
God.
slows everything down.
Yes, yes. Tatum has gotten better over the years as well. He's another
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Mhm.
Good point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think the issue is not the ball stopping with Randle on the Knicks. I think the issue is Randle stops the ball and he's just not that guy. So you're just not getting good shots. You're gonna live with whatever KD gives you because you know he's that guy. You're gonna live with Harden. You're gonna live with Paul George when it stops with them because they're the guy. It's stopping with Randle, and we're like, he's
And I
not
think,
that guy. We
and I
gotta
think,
get that guy.
And I think that actually that's part of that's the big issue this year with Randall, with RJ even. The volume shooting, but the efficiency was bad.
It
Just
really
like with
was.
Harden with Philadelphia. Harden is
Hmm.
that guy,
Hmm.
but this year he wasn't. Like that he struggled a lot this year to find his shot. He had some really bad showings. So as long as you make the buckets, you can be that guy.
Right.
You can slow down the offense, and it's just a natural effect of how your game is, but you got to make them shots.
Right. Absolutely. And he wasn't. And that's going to be the issue for RJ too. If we trade Randall, to Tony's point, I don't think we're going to get somebody better than him. So, we're looking for addition by subtraction. So now that means somebody on our team is going to be that guy. And if that's RJ, hopefully he'll be more efficient because the ball is going to stop with him as well. They're going to load up on him as well. And he doesn't have a history in his young, NBA career of being very efficient either. So we shall see.
quick questions. Are you still high on Myles Turner, Queen? I know you was like mid
Yeah,
season.
I was. I think his injuries is giving me pause. Um, his injuries is giving me pause. His contract is 18 million. I don't really have a problem with that, but the injuries is giving me pause.
And do you think the cost is high at all, or do you think it's
I'm
like,
okay with eight. I'm okay with 18 because
no? I mean, but the cost to get him as well. I mean, that obviously the money is one thing, but we got to give back something.
it
Like
depends.
so.
Yeah, I would have to see. I would have to see. I would have to see the package. If he was healthy, I would be much more on board than I am now. Only because if we're keeping Randall and you have RJ, a lot those guys operate best underneath below the foul line, and having somebody like Mitch further clogs the lane. Having somebody like Turner that could, even though he shoots, I don't know, a 33, 34%. The league average for centers was 34%. So I think he's around the league average for a center. It's going to create space for Randall. It's going to create space for RJ. My issue is the injuries.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Um, Ron, you can answer real quick, and then actually before you answer, Queen, and would you consider a Myles Turner trade involving Randall?
Yeah, Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And floor is yours, Ron.
Well, I can say his price tag I don't think is bad because he does a lot more uh, than the average center when he's healthy. I mean, the fact that he can stretch the floor a little bit and his defense is, I mean, his blocking is top notch. Uh, so I'm not a big fan of players that can't stay healthy. I don't want the Knicks to touch anybody who can't stay healthy. To be honest, we
Yeah.
got enough guys on the team already that can't stay healthy.
Yep.
Like, don't
especially
bring in more.
especially at the position.
Right.
Right.
So I don't like that at all. Um, and I can't really see the Knicks just because if any team, the Knicks are so big with personalities. I mean, relationships. I can't see them trading for Myles Turner, including Randle, when apparently Randle and Turner have a good relationship. I find it
Yeah.
funky a little bit. I don't see it
And
happening.
that's a good match. That if he's healthy, if he was
Right.
Yeah,
healthy, that's a good combo in
yeah.
terms of how they play. I think they complement each other.
I,
But the health is and I felt like that about Kyrie. So I'm pretty consistent on that.
um, is there a guy that you would? Is there a guy you think we could trade Randall for that would make the team better?
Probably not in the short term. I think D-Law I think it's all about roster construction. I don't know if it's going to be like a one for one and you'd be able to say, okay, you know, it's how does this player fit with the team and does it make the team function better? Um, yeah. Ron, you were shaking your head, so you may have somebody in mind.
Hold on. I was just trying to, man, sometimes I can have a name in my head and I'll say it every day. And then when it's time for me to say it again, it's gone.
That's the
Um,
Stephanie syndrome. Watch out. Watch out.
um, honestly, I know this is not a sexy trade. I've mentioned it a couple different times
hmm
throughout the year, and I still think you probably have to do a little something else to tweak it because of the money to make the money work.
hmm
But I'd still be happy if there was a way that they could trade Randall to Portland, get that seventh pick,
hmm
get Josh Hart, and bring in that kid Drew Eubanks. I like Eubanks, and if you look at Eubanks' numbers, he's almost a double double. Points wise, he gives you around 15, 16 points per game, and rebounds he hits around 9. Um, you know, I like that guy, and I think he gives you a lot of what Randall can give you. And on the defensive end, he's not a slouch. He's more of an offensive player, but he's not a slouch on defense. He can work within the system. And then I just think like a guy like Josh Hart, bringing him in is a better Alec Burks. You know what I mean? You can get more out of him than Alec Burks will give you. And you get the seventh pick. So you're in a much better position to get a guy you want. You may not get Ivy, but you might be able to get a Matherin. So that's kind of how I look. I think that would be an interesting trade for them. Yeah, it wouldn't be the sexiest, but it might put you in a position where you make your team a lot better going forward.
But at 7, is Eubank is not a top 10 pick, is he? Projected top 10 pick?
I don't think he is. No.
There isn't anybody else you like at 7 though? Because I think we could probably trade
Oh no,
down for
no.
Eubank's number.
Eubanks is on Portland already.
Yeah,
Oh,
He's
on
yeah, yeah.
yeah. No. I was
because I was
saying,
saying to
I was
myself,
saying
who
that's
is Eubanks? I
that
was
was that was that was what the last year, right?
yeah. Yeah,
okay. So Eubanks, Hart,
he's
and the 7th pick.
right.
Gotcha.
He let me just say because I want to be accurate with it. Yeah, he averaged 14.5 points, 8 rebounds, in 29 minutes of play with Portland. Um, and he's a solid scorer when it comes to that. Like he knows how to get his buckets. Uh, and I think that like I said, We know what Josh Hart can be. Josh Hart is a good defender, and he can get hot and light it up when you give him the opportunity, and just the ability to also get that seventh pick. It's a thought. It's a thought because you ain't gonna get exactly what Randall's value will dictate. And then some people I saw in the chat, and I don't think they're far fetched. Some people say that Randall may never get back to what his value was. We don't know.
I don't think he's gonna get back to that, but I think it'll get better than what it is. But yeah, I don't know if he's gonna get back to that all NBA type. That's yeah.
I think it's possible. I don't know how likely it is, but I wouldn't put it off the table. Um, so here's a guy that I just want the Knicks to pursue. Um, I don't necessarily prefer Randall to be in the trade, but I think even if we did that and we were moving on, I think it would help us either way. And a lot of people haven't been high on him because I've talked about him over the past couple of years. Christian Wood, and it's been a lot. He's done what he's done on losing teams. You know what I mean? And that's been the main knock that I've heard against him. And then also the contract year thing, which is out the window now. He's paid, and he's still putting up the same type numbers that he was in the contract year. But versatile big, I think modern NBA big man. I think he's a mismatch problem, like all across the board.
Oh, Tony, I didn't want to cut you off. I just wanted to, yeah. And when I said that trade, you still keep the 11th pick.
Oh
Yeah,
no, no,
I was just throwing that out there because people were saying like, yeah, no, we keep 7 and 11.
yeah,
But yeah, continue.
and those are lucky numbers right there too. So who knows? We might we might pull something crazy off with those two number picks. But I feel you. And I'm not. I think I don't know if we end up being a better team, but I think we have a better future. You know what I mean? Like now it's like it just expanded the timeline. You know what I mean? I think I don't know what the expectation would be immediately, but you know what I mean. Long term, it's like youth movement, and I'm not opposed to the youth movement, like and acquiring assets and rocking with the young guys we have and developing. But I think I think the front office and Tibbs kind of want to win now, or not. Not necessarily thinking about winning it all now, but kind of progressing and going from playoffs and trying to keep getting better. Um, does well. I think he does because of his defensive versatility. Like he's a guy that can switch. You know what I mean? Can guard the perimeter. He's not a bad shot blocker. I think my only concern with Wood would be some of the bruising centers. You know what I mean? Like and what he can do down low in the paint. And even there, he's shown improvement. And I've never really seen him get abused consistently. He might get abused on a play here and there. You know what I mean? But even in that, you'll see him block a shot from a bigger big man as well. But on the flip side, once you get on the opposite end of the court, now now they got to guard him. They got to guard him in the post. They got to guard him on the perimeter. I just think modern big man. I think he just fits that mold, and he changes that whole dynamic um
This is
for
my
for this
question
team.
though.
And I like
About
him better than Myles Turner.
right. My question about Christian Woods and to Ron's guy Eubanks who plays power forward. Are they playing ahead of Obi or are they playing behind Obi? I mean, Eubanks averaged 29 points a game. If Obi is starting, are you trading Randall for him to bring him in to play 16 minutes a game? And for Christian
Mm.
Wood, Tony, how do you see that playing out with Obi as well?
I think he could if I think he could play the 4 or the 5. I would put him at the 5 just
Okay.
because now he's the biggest mismatch every single night. You know what I mean? At least on the offensive end. You know what I mean? Like you
Hmm.
got to guard him from the 3-point line in the post, like wherever he is on the floor. You got to kind of keep a conscious mind of that. And he's just a skilled player. You know what I mean? Like he can
Hmm.
pass, he can shoot, he could dribble, he could post, he can do it all. He may not be a master at any of it. I believe he shot 39% from three as well. And was like 17 and 10. So good solid numbers. You know what I mean? That I think can be continue to reproduce and keep doing that. Um, and I think at the 5, even with Randall, I think that is I think that's superb. With Obi, I mean, it's still good. And then if we have a different center and we got to use him at the 4, I think he obviously beats out Obi, but won't command the 32-35 minutes a night to where everybody's saying he's hindering Obi's production.
Hmm.
So I think he could fit at the 4, at the 5. Um, I think he could even play 3 on a big lineup. You know what I mean? Like where where you just want to dominate boards and block shots from all over the floor. I wouldn't start him at the 3. I'm saying like in a situation where you just want to go big real quick. So yeah, I like him a lot. I don't know what the cost for him would be, but I think even with Houston kind of rebuilding right now, I wouldn't mind giving up a first round pick for him if
For
that's what it
Christian
costs.
Wood.
Yeah, yeah. I think he
Okay.
he just changes the dynamic. Um, I, yeah, I do. I wouldn't mind giving a first round pick for him. I think that and a young player would do it, or whatever salary needs to match it up. I'm high on Christian Woods. I have been for like 3-4 years as well.
I like his skill set. I just haven't seen much improvement over the years with him, so he may be who he's gonna be. Um,
You don't think that's good enough?
I
Because
mean,
I think the improvement came and then it's been consistent. And the question was, all right, he improved this much. Is this who he is, or is he gonna regress? So even if he doesn't improve, I think I like where he is right now. So if that's sustainable, I'm okay with that. But continue.
yeah. Um, there's just something about Woods that I like his shooting. I like his rim protection. I don't know about him defending out on the 3. He is kind of, he is kind of thin, and I don't know if his motor is that great. I don't have a problem if the Knicks get him, but I'm not giving up a number 1 and a young guy for him.
Mm.
And I'm not opposed to Wood. I've just never been a real big fan of him. Um, but that's just, I don't know. That's just me personally. Like
Yeah, me too.
I
Right.
just it was just one of them things. It's like I don't know. I look at his game and I think he's a good player, but that's just how I look at him. But could he help the Knicks? Probably.
What,
He has some versatility in his game,
Hmm.
and I think that's something that they're lacking. So it can't hurt. I get a little concerned about him injury wise as well.
that
Um,
doesn't quite have the history though.
oh no
And
no no not yeah.
and I was just about to ask because where do you guys rank him? Like if you're choosing between him and Myles Turner, I think the money is pretty much the same.
But
So so
he would
so
get
if
the edge. No
if it
injury history.
so okay.
If
So
there's no injury history, ooh, if there's no injury history, I would take Miles, but I think I'm biased only because I've seen Miles
mm,
more. I've seen him more
Right.
than I've seen Christian Woods.
I think he's just a little bit more fluent than Myles, and that's like I'm not down on Myles. It is the injury history, but no injury history. If the cost is the same on both sides, I think I would still pick Christian just because he's a little bit more fluent. You know what I mean? Like, but I take them both. I think I'm good for the show for tonight. I don't know if you want to touch on anything, Queen. We got a big show tonight, right?
Well, I know Sim is doing talking with Grimes trainer, I
Yes.
believe around 10:30. So
Yeah.
I've set my alarm for that because I'll I'll fall out in a minute, be asleep or forget or be up and forget.
Yeah.
Um
I'm not missing that one.
um no, I think I'm good as well.
Ron, welcome.
Yeah.
Hey,
Appreciate
man,
you.
You got to come on
always
Dope
fun.
Soul, Ron. Tuesdays 9 o'clock whenever you're available.
It's always fun to chop it up with y'all, man. Listen,
Definitely.
I figured let me try to jump on now, man. Y'all keep Mondays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays. It's on lock.
Yeah, we got it. And then we chill for like 5 days, or at least I do, and then I'm ready to do it again.
I try to chill, but everybody got these so much content coming out. I'm still watching something if I'm not on
Right.
it. So
That's
so
something
it's
to
you know what
watch.
I mean.
Exactly.
It's so it's occupying with the time. Next time I have you on Knicks and Bruises though, I need the whole uh still Knicks fans.
Oh, I
You,
got you.
you,
Yeah,
you
we're
know what
gonna
I
make
mean?
that happen.
I know it's tough. You know what I mean? But
We-
I need the whole crew. Even if Jose want to not be on screen and just have his voice pop out every now and again.
yeah, I see if I can make that happen. Yeah. That
um,
works. And I just wanted to say, yeah, I know it's not ideal. And I'm not saying. See, people take things too literal. When I say it's not, you're not trading Randall for Drew Eubanks. You traded Randall for Eubanks, Josh Hart, and the seventh pick, and being afforded the ability to keep your 11th pick. Because a lot of these trades to trade up and stuff, you're gonna have to get rid of your 11th pick as well. So you
Hmm.
keeping it, and you just adding more young talent to the team. The other thing is because Portland had injuries, Eubanks played center. He's a 6'9" guy, 245. So, yes, he was smaller than the average center, but we see that throughout the league now all the time. And he was still getting about 9 rebounds while he was at the center position. So it was just a thought. It just, spitballing, throwing stuff out.
speaking of spitballing, what do you think of this comment here? Shout out to Anthony. Appreciate you. Um,
Ooh,
what
whoa.
would you
Yeah,
guys
he went he went all
take
the way with it.
KP back?
Man, oof. Nah, I don't know. That's a little too much, man. That's very NBA Live, 2K ish. Like that's a lot. There's a lot going on there. I don't like Brogdon because he can't stay healthy. I don't care how good he is. Even in Indiana, when the situation is, he went to Indiana to basically be the man. He's never been the man because he's never on the court, right? And then Randall for KP. Uh, Nah, I don't want KP back. But I will tell you that if KP came back, I think KP would do well. If he could stay healthy, I think he would do well because I think you look at him with the Wizards, he's putting up his numbers. He's looking pretty good for them. Um,
All right. Health is the issue with him.
yeah,
Yeah,
health is
I
always
think
going to be the problem. But he has bulked up. I've seen him
Yes.
lately. He's a bigger dude.
I also think he had to eat some humble pie,
Right.
and I think that might actually do wonders for his career.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Regardless
think
of
the
where it
Luca
is.
experiment was just the slap in the face he needed. Oh yeah, I want to go play with my boy. We run in the league. We're gonna do whatever we want. We get over there. It don't work. Now
It,
you and your boy ain't even as cool as you used to be because it didn't work.
Right.
especially if you've I don't even know what I was watching. It might have been me watching one of you guys' shows, and then something else just came on after. But whomever it was talking about uh the relationship between KP and Luca, and you know rumored that Luca really wasn't very fond of KP, and that the coach Jason Kidd had to convince Luca to kind of play nice and put on a front in order to boost his value, in order to move him. Rather, like it may have been allegedly that bad that the coach had to say, all right, it's time to do this acting job, and we're gonna feed him, we're gonna feature him, we're gonna high five him when he makes a basket, compliment him, and when just put on a facade. And I thought that was super interesting. Don't know how true it is, but he was supposed to be an insider for the Mavs, whoever was giving this information out. And I think so. That's part of me saying I think that situation, especially with it coming out, players at some point they start to hear things that's out in the atmosphere, and I think that was probably a humbling experience.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. There probably is some truth to that, because unfortunately for KP, I think the worst thing that he ever did. I understand some people respect it, and it keeps you humbled, it keeps you on the straight and narrow. But having your brothers as your inner circle and your brother as your agent, I just think that it might have been a little too much. He had that jock on campus mentality, and I think it was tough for him to shake that. But I think he's definitely learned a lot in the league.
There was another part of that question too. Obi, Reddish, and the number 11 for the number 4 pick.
Obi, Reddish.
It was Reddish and who?
Obi, Reddish, and the 11th pick for number 4.
That's tough. That is tough.
It's not tough for me because I don't see that, because I don't see the Knicks signing. Cam would have to have a really good season for the Knicks to sign him. He's up for a contract. I wish he wasn't. He's up for a contract. I like Obi. I don't have a problem with Obi. I just feel with his age and how much more he needs to develop, I think it's going to take him more time than I think other fans think. And the 11th pick, I would do it.
Don't get me wrong. I would do it.
I think I would do it. I think I would do it too. But I know the risk in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the same thing with my mindset of moving back to try to get 2 chances at guys popping. I think now they're getting 3 chances. You know what I mean? Because I think Obi could pop. I think Cam can pop, and then whomever they get at 11, has potentially.
I would do it though, but I'm not doing it in conjunction with those other moves.
Oh no! I think those. I think those were 3. I think that was 3 separate moves.
Yeah, I think that was 3.
And I do want to I didn't get the guy's name, but he said Brogdon's not expiring. Right. I think what the gentleman was saying was our expiring contracts to get Brogdon. So, Noel, Burks, and I don't know if Rose, but I think he was saying our expirings to go get him, using our expiring contracts to go get him.
I think Rayology is referring to Cam. Yeah, I hope he gets that opportunity for us to see next year. If he doesn't, the Knicks have a hard. They have a decision to make at the end of the season. I think he'll be restricted though.
Yeah. I like those situations.
You like? I wish they had 2 more years before they had to make a decision.
I mean, I prefer restricted to unrestricted. That's all I mean.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Like at that point, it's like I love when you have the chance to say, go ahead, go see what's out there. And as bad as it may sound, even if you don't want to be here no more, you got that you got that option to say, oh, you signed that contract? Yeah, we'll take that.
For the Knicks, no more letting guys get to unrestricted free. If
I agree.
You're not going to sign Cam by the trade deadline, get something.
And the fact that you gave up a first, I think that something has to be a first. You know what I mean? Like there's no argument. There's no.
If you can get one, that's the thing. That's what happens in situations like this.
The
value can go up or it can go down.
I know.
I think he could still get a first though, unless he just comes out and bombs or he's injured.
Yeah.
I think I was just gonna say, you know what? We may be, and this is y'all fault. Y'all not the only ones who said it, but it's y'all fault. I I do kind of also think that, and Harlem Girl just kind of reiterated it. I think the whole fourth pick thing is kind of almost a pipe dream because Ivy might not be there.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Given
he could go
OKC's track
quick.
record, they just
Yeah.
go for the best player. They not worrying about
yeah.
fit or
And
anything like
and
that.
and that being said, if that opportunity is still there, obviously, Queen, I know you like Jabari. You
I like
know what I
Jabari.
mean? Is out of those four guys, if one of them is there, is if one of them is there at 4, do you not want to make that trade for that fourth pick?
The
Like
only thing about it is that it changes everything if you're gonna get a power forward now, because you have Randall and you have Obi. So
I mean,
now
I get that in consideration.
depends on what we
I
get
do
done.
it. I still do
You
it
still do it
because
for
if
any one of
worst
them?
comes to worst, I'm gonna get a good player that we can use on our team, and I'll
This,
flip. I'm gonna have to make moves and get rid of someone else,
yeah, the
or I can
scariest,
flip them.
the sca- but even flipping them, are you getting back the value
No,
of
if if
Obi?
if if you make a trade like that and you move up and then you don't get Ivy and one of them bigs drop to you, if I'm flipping that guy, I'm getting what I want. I'm like, it's gonna be in a different type of package, and I'm getting Donovan, or
It's a
I'm going
oh,
big.
You mean
I'm
flipping
going
okay.
him during the draft?
You mean
yeah,
Not
yeah, yeah,
immediately?
okay.
yeah,
I
Okay,
yeah,
got
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah.
you.
that's
Got you.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I was questioning
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going big.
Because my I guess the least likely person that I would do that for, man, it's tough. I know you high on Jabari, but it's tough for me with Jabari and with Chet. And Chet more so than Jabari. I still think that's a lot for Jabari,
Mhm.
but Chet is just a question mark of he has the highest ceiling of them all, but everything like about his genetics scares me so much.
But you know
You know,
what? What I'm hearing is I don't see people being concerned about him being injury prone though. That's what I'm hearing. And you can also play him at the 4 like Mobley with his skinny self. But he played at the 4, until he bulks up enough to move to 5. So I think Chet can do that.
I mean, I still have the concerns. Like even at the 4, I feel like it's the same concerns for me. Oh, the Podfather has joined us. What's going on, Sim?
What's going on, man?
Tim,
so,
I'm not doing it, man. Look, I
Huh?
know Big Bubba ain't enough for you anymore. Like, I can't do it, but
so let me start off by I let them know, this was just a buzz before. I mean, just to feed the buzz before the Randall keep him or dump him. So
Right.
I was
Coming
trying to
next
I
week.
was trying to calm their nerves a little bit and
Right.
just give them a little snack on it.
Yeah,
But
that's coming next week. That's coming next week.
um, but yeah, appreciate you joining us on the crossover. We were just ending, but I mean, it's you always got
Oh,
time to shine. So
I just wanted to come in and say what's up. I seen everybody here. I just wanted to come in and say what's going on. When you went on, I was catching a nap because
hey, ain't nothing wrong with
I
that.
had a long night, then long day. So I was catching a nap. I was like, well, let me just jump on and say what's up, everybody.
I mean, but a quick rundown on some of the topics if you want to answer a couple questions. I think
Yeah.
we started with did your big board change? Because we just did the big board show. I don't know if you don't got to go into super details because I know you're gonna up. We're gonna keep doing these big boards,
Yeah.
as time goes on. But has
We
anybody
only got
felt?
another week.
I
Yeah.
mean,
A whole nother
that, that,
week.
That's
that's
it.
true. That's true.
A lot
But
of stuff can happen too.
anybody fall out? Anybody move up?
No, I'm
Or
still
is
the same.
it
I'm
still the
still the
same?
same right now.
All right.
What's
Any
your top 3 again?
My top 3 is Ben Matherin, Dyson Daniels, Johnny Davis.
Got
That's
you.
my top 3.
Okay.
Right. And then we got AJ Griffin, and we got Abaji.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
I really like that Abaji kid though.
I hear you,
I really
Sid.
like that Abaji kid. And in the second round, my number one guy is Trevion Williams. Second round. I really, really want him on this team.
Wait, who's the you know one guy in the second?
Trevion Williams.
Out of Purdue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. And then number 2 would be Kai Soto. So I don't want people to get mad. That would be my number 2 guy. But I really like Trevion Williams.
Kai's my guy, man.
Okay.
Kai's my guy. I swear I wish if the Knicks got Kai Soto, I don't even know what I would do, man.
Oh, I know what I would do. I ain't gonna tell nobody, but I know what I'm doing if they get Kai Soto. That's a fact. And that's gonna be a fun night too. If
Let
we
me tell you
if we
guys,
pick that boy
listen,
up.
I still think I don't think the Knicks are going to have a real good shot to get these guys. I think there's a lot of smoke being blown out there. People are trying to throw everybody off. I think all them dudes is going to be the Johnny Davises, the Matherins, the Ivy. They're all going to be gone early. I think Agbaji might be there, but I really wish, like the dream scenario for me is the Knicks getting 13, 15, and keeping 22. Now, hold on, Steph. I know you want to say that's a lot of youth. I know
42, right?
But
I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works for Thibodeau. I get it. But my whole thing is like a lot of people keep saying you got all these guys. What are you gonna well, if I get those 3 draft picks, I'm drafting the guys I really want on the team. And them guys we had last year, some of them dudes is up out of here. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, I think we need better talent. I don't think the talent was put together in the best fashion last year. Granted, you still don't know about some of these guys. There's question marks, but what you do know about them, you could tell some guys aren't dogs. If you can go out and get you a dog, go get you a dog. You know, there's certain things you can see. And some of these guys, like Jovic, I don't know if he would work for the Knicks or what, but that kid is going to be good. Like Jalen Williams, and I mean the first Jalen Williams, not the second, because there's 2 of them.
From what school?
The one from Santa Clara.
Okay, that's my guy too.
That dude is a baller, man. There's guys. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see what happens. Really, I'm excited.
But the only thing I would say is, Charlotte is. I don't think a front office would give up 13 and 15 just to move up 2 spots.
Right.
We might have to sweeten
it. You're gonna have to give it, and that's my whole thing. If you get in 13 and 15, you're gonna get a wing player, right? There's no way you're not gonna take one of those guys. Got to be a wing,
right?
With all these wings in this draft, right. So then at that point, you say to yourself, "I need to make room. Maybe Grimes got to go. Maybe somebody else got to go." That's gonna be in the 13 to 15 package. It don't have to be Grimes, but it could be Grimes.
Right.
Tony's like, no, I want Grimes.
I just think more realistically, it would be Cam. And I only
because of the contract, right?
Right.
I say that because of the contract. Right. You're recouping that first round pick pretty much that you gave up for him. And I think Grimes has solidified himself in what do you call it, Sim? Tibbs' circle of trust.
Trust.
So I think because Cam has not kind of made it all the way in there yet. Excuse me, not Grant, because Cam hasn't made it all the way in there yet. I think he would be the guy, and that was going to be my question. So, if it's Cam and 11 for 13 and 15, would you guys do it? And then Sim, specifically to you, is there anybody that you have as a trade down candidate? So this would fit into that trade down candidate 13, 15.
Abaji would be one of my trade down candidates because I think you may be able to get him. I don't know. I've seen him all over from 10 to 18 or something like that. So he possibly could be a trade down candidate if he's there. I think all of the trade ups or trade down is really going to be a last minute thing for the Knicks because of the way that everything is with the draft. I think it's going to be like, let's just say, for example, they had a deal in place with the Sacramento Kings, right? But
it's contingent on Ivy being there.
Right. But if Ivy's drafted at 2, then they're not going to do the deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or if it gets to 11 and they like Abaji, but Abaji is still on the board, right? And they know the team below them is going to take someone else. And then I said, well, we can do this trade for 13. We can draft so-and-so for this person and do this trade and get Abaji at 13. So I think it's a lot of it's going to depend on where people are falling in the draft.
Yeah.
And where people are in the draft.
And that particular trade, I think that's Charlotte. It depends on who Charlotte wants. You know what I mean? Like they have to feel like whoever they want is gonna go at 12 for them to move to 11. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the only way they do it. Somebody slides, and then they there at 11, and they don't think if we don't pick them that the next team behind us is gonna pick them. That's I don't think they do it just to do it. You know what I mean? It's still relatively young. I think they still have room to play two rookies this year, so it's not about that. I think they have the room to pay two rookies as well. And unless they're trying to extend guys early.
Yeah, you can go over the
You
cap
know what?
to pay your rookies.
I had a question for y'all. I failed to even mention it on my own show. I was in my own world or something. I forgot about it. But do y'all, and I guess it's a real type scenario. It could happen if there is some real interest from Philadelphia. Would y'all be interested because I saw a proposed trade of Alec Burks. I don't know who the other player was. I know it was Alec Burks and something else for the 26th pick and shoot.
Yes.
What's his name? The kid who got hurt was
Yes.
going to be out
I
for a
don't even.
minute.
I would, and I have no hate for Alec Burks, but I would take the 26th pick.
I think it's the 23rd.
Like, I didn't even finish the trade. He's like, "Yep."
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it's 23, right?
Yeah,
because
Denny-
the Philly
yeah,
and
Danny
Brooklyn
Green.
Nets 23rd pick, I think it is.
Because Danny Green is most likely is going to he might miss the whole season, and I think he's on the last year of his deal anyway. So it's, I mean, you know what you're not getting.
And that's with Philly. He's with Philly.
Yeah, with Philly.
Oh yeah, I would do that too. I would do. Yeah, I'm with Sim. A fast yes.
That's
Fast
what I was
yes.
thinking.
I mean, it does take up a roster spot that you can't necessarily use, but even in that case, you could waive Danny Green and open up the spot. You still be paying him, but if it's about the spot, you can waive him, and then obviously you restricted in how much money you can spend to utilize it, but you can utilize it. So I do it. I do it in a heartbeat.
Now let me ask, what is Danny Green's? Why would Philadelphia?
He's out for the season. I think that's what Ron said.
Yeah, he's going to be out for the season most likely. He's making $10 million, the same amount as Burks.
I think Burks is better than I think he's more versatile than Danny Green. I think
he is. He is.
No, but that's why I think that's why Philly does it.
Right.
Because now you got a roster spot that the guy's hurt. You filling in that roster spot with someone of value for them. You know what I mean? And then yeah, that's that I would
at 23.
I would do that
That's
quick.
a good spot to get some of them candidates that we really like down there. Williams, Jalen, not is it Jalen? Yeah, Jalen Williams from Santa Clara is moving up. He wouldn't even be there at 23 at this point.
And that's a situation where if you do something like that and you're still, you keep 11, 23 and keep 42, Knicks might still move that 42 for something that, like, how the Knicks move. But to have 11 and 23, then you definitely have a good shot to get two guys that you might see in the rotation at some point.
Yeah,
and that would lead me to, I'd be even more comfortable if the Knicks used 11 to go get a Baji, and then with 23 go get some other type of player on the defensive end, a defensive big or somebody who might be able to stretch the floor a little bit. And then you got to say that the Knicks would be in a better position this year for the season. I think that would be nice because they're sleeping on Baji, man.
And Sim, the last topic we discussed, or I asked the question of what is your interest in both Myles Turner and not together, but or Christian Wood? Would you include Randle in a trade for either one of those guys? And then how do you think they would fit, let's say, with and without Randle?
I'm not a fan of Christian Wood.
That's three. That's three. I'm the only one.
I'm not a fan of Christian Wood.
I'm the only one.
So I wouldn't do. I definitely wouldn't do it for Christian Wood. Would I do it for Myles Turner?
Non-injury Myles Turner.
Yeah,
like if he didn't have that injury history.
Well, I think that's cheating. I want to know with the injury history, so I could be like, you gonna take him over Christian Wood?
With the injury history, I wouldn't take Myles, and I like him.
I mean, I don't know if I would do it for Randle with Myles Turner, unless we are. I guess it's gonna depend on what else are we doing. Do we have a plan, to put some other pieces there as well?
Because they work well together. I mean, I think
they would. Yeah.
What, Myles Turner and Randle?
Yeah.
So are you saying Myles Turner with Randle or Myles Turner for Randle?
I was asking both. Both. So either one.
I wouldn't mind putting them with Randle. I think that would work well together. And they seem to be buddies. They work out together. So they're probably, buddies. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't mind putting them with Randle. I don't know if I don't think I would do it for Randle.
Okay. And your stance on Woods is the same with or without Randle? Don't like him?
Nah, I don't like Woods.
I'm interested. What don't you like about him? Because me personally, I just think
when I see him, I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like what he does is impactful to the game, right? Like he can, get a couple shots, maybe grab a couple rebounds, but I don't feel like his presence impacts the game. You know what I'm saying? Like with Randle, when people get mad about Randle and this and that, but Randle's presence impacts the game. You know what I'm saying? His physicality, just him being out there on the floor impacts the basketball game. I don't feel like his does. I feel what's the center that you covered the other day, the real skinny guy?
Butler?
Yeah.
Butler out of Florida State?
Yeah. Like I feel like, I feel like that's the same player, except Christian Wood is a little bit better. You know what I mean? Both of them real skinny, but I just don't feel like Wood has that kind of impact on the game.
The biggest knock that I've heard about him, and this goes back to prior to Houston, when I wanted him as a free agent, was I guess I don't know if this is what you're saying, but like empty stats, good numbers, bad team, and I don't know if that's what you mean when you say he doesn't affect.
I don't even know if empty stats, but you have certain players. I don't know how to describe impact that can go out there and they can give you points and some rebounds, but if you take them out the game, it doesn't really affect the game. You know what I'm saying? And you can bring someone in that can fill in nicely with what they do, and get along just as well. You know what I mean? I just feel, it's hard to explain that kind of impact, but you have certain players that just, it impacts the game and it changes the game when they get in there. You know what I mean? From a physical standpoint, from a speed standpoint, from an aggressive type of standpoint, and I just don't feel like he does that. It's kind of like when Frank Ntilikina came in the game. Sometimes he didn't really, sometimes he came in to play some defense and it did impact the game. But for the most part, he come in the game, it didn't really impact it that much. And you could take him out and put somebody else in and it would, it would be all right.
I get your argument, but I would argue that his impact on the game for this team will probably be more than it's been throughout, his career, because I mean we all talk about a center who kind of brings a different dynamic. You know what I mean? So automatically I think he opens the floor up for Randle, RJ, the guys that we say we wanted opened up for. And then like I said, he shot 39%.
Yeah.
It's not
From
his
three,
skills,
from
Tony.
three. Yeah,
It's not his skill. He's one of them
Well,
guys you got to just shake and be
yeah,
like, come on, come on. You know,
Yeah.
that's what
that's
I'm
the best
talking
way I can
about.
Yeah.
explain it.
Actually,
I
you know
mean,
what, Tony? If you want me to tell you why I don't like him, I think this is the real reason why I don't like him. Because every time I think about Christian Wood, and for the most part, it was about Trading Randle
mhm.
in my eyes. So I'm like, is Christian Wood better than Randle? I don't know. He might be, he might not be. But the other
Nah.
thing is, I'm like, what I want from Wood, I don't think he's going to give me. Like, for Christian Wood to take that next step to go to the next level, I need to see like ultra focus. And the reason why I don't feel confident in that, you said it. He shoots 39% from three. That's really good. You know, he averaged 17 points a game, like 10
10
rebounds.
rebounds too.
But even though he shoots 39% from three, he shoots 50% from the field. He shoots 60% from the free throw line. So to me, in my mind, I say this is a guy who could shoot. Why can't he make free throws? That points to focus. So then I think if there's something about being on an island by yourself shooting free throws that he can't focus and concentrate on, and he struggles at it, how is a guy like that because the Knicks help to progress, you want to make the playoffs. How is that guy going to react in the playoffs in pressure packed situations? So that's how I look at him, and I feel like something's missing. I don't know. I just never.
Yeah.
There's something about him.
Yeah.
I,
It's that feel. Like some
I
guys.
get the arguments.
Yeah.
I get the arguments against him. You're not swaying me, but I get it. I definitely get it, because I just I think it would be less responsibility for him here. I think he could just utilize his skill set. I wonder if Tibbs would be the guy that could kind of shake him up and get him focused a little bit. But and I get the arguments that is out there that he doesn't, like you said, some impact the game or impact winning. Um, but prior to that, it was he's doing this in a contract year, and that, I think that argument at the very least is out the window, because now he's paid and the numbers are the same. Did he impact winning? No, but would he have been better had the whole James Harden situation not occurred, and Harden was there ready to play ball? You know what I mean, as opposed to kind
It's
of
not
forcing his way out.
it's not even about the impact winning. People say that a lot about players. Your stats didn't mean this, your stats didn't mean that because your team didn't win. I don't really pay attention to that, because you can look at Andrew Wiggins and his stats on Minnesota didn't equate to wins, but look where he is right now. You know what I'm
And
saying? And he's putting up similar stats.
now he's third, fourth option. It
Right.
changes.
You
It
know what I'm
changes
saying?
everything.
And his stats are impacting winning. So I really don't always look at that. It bothers me when people say that about players sometimes, because you can take that player, put him on another team, and they average the same thing, maybe a point or two below, and all of a sudden it's impacting winning. It takes a lot for a team to win, not just that one player putting up however many points and rebounds. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even that for me. It's just like I said, just the impact on the game itself, not just winning.
I got shout out old head, because I know Queen. That's one of Queen's guys. Rashad Holmes. I remember the
I
names that
like him, but I
you
don't
be
know if
talking about.
he fell off this past season though. But I know like maybe 2 seasons ago I really liked him, but I don't know if because I didn't watch a lot of. Where's he now? Sacramento?
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched him last season, so I don't. I don't think he got as much time either. So I don't know if he fell off a little bit or not. But there was a time when I really liked him.
There was somebody, was it yesterday, last night on your show, Steph, said that they would take Rashawn Holmes over Mitch. Was that
Yeah,
Jarrell?
it might. Well, yeah, it might have been. I think Jarrell would take anybody. Him and Gavin would take anybody over Mitch. Yeah.
There's another trade scenario that Danny Thomas put up. Yeah, and he gave a super chat.
Okay.
Mhm.
And by the way,
Jeremy Grant.
thank you for the super chat, Danny. But he said 3-way trade. New York gets Monte Morris, Will Barton, Jeremy Grant, Detroit gets Julius. Denver gets Fournier Burks in the 2024 second round pick.
I like Will Barton.
I like Grant too.
I mean, that's a heck of a trade for the, with the Knicks getting back some I don't know if Denver's giving up all those guys for real, and all they getting is Fournier Burks in the 2024 second round pick.
Right.
They giving up Monte Morris.
I think I might like Jeremy Grant less than I like Christian Wood. Like I don't.
Oh, really? Wow.
I was actually gonna ask that too, because I think obviously different positions. I think to your point, Ron, I think because Woods is doing what he's doing from the center position, I think he becomes more of a mismatch, anytime he's on the floor. But Grant defensively, you know what I mean? Like he's definitely more well-rounded. He's definitely guarding the perimeter. Yeah. He's guarding the threes and the wings that are elite in this league. But I like them both. I like them both for very similar reasons. I think the asking price for Grant is higher, which is why I would lean towards Woods. But it's interesting that you like him less, or in that same mode that you don't like, or you don't like him the same way you don't like Woods.
How is Woods defensively? Not just his blocking shots, but just being able. Can he guard out on the perimeter? Can he guard in the post? Like, what's his defense? Or is he more like a weak side defender?
I think he's best at weak side defender. I think he will hold his own against 80% of the centers in the league. I think my only concern is against those heavier bruising centers. You know what I mean? But overall, I think 80% of the centers in this league, especially with the way the game is going now, these stretch centers, I think he can guard them. And I think he'll be even more of a mismatch on the other end of the floor. What's the biggest knock on him?
Yeah, I'm not sure about his side-to-side movement, lateral movement, and being able to get down low and defend quicker guards in a pick and roll situation.
I agree. I think you're not going to put him in that situation. You know what I mean?
If they do a pick and roll, you in it.
I mean,
you may not have any control over what the other team is doing.
On the opposite end, I don't know if he's going to be the target either. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to target him. But you're also not going to say, like, you're not going to put him on the wing, the best wing guy. Like, that's not who he is, obviously. But here and there in the pinch, I'm not mad at it, and I don't think the other team is going to single him out, pick him out. You know what I mean? All right, let's get him on. Let's get Wood on the guard. I don't think they'll do that continuously. You know what I mean? Like some other players throughout the league. I think he's adequate enough. You know what I mean? Not elite, but he'll get you by.
And I was just gonna say, with regards to Jeremy Grant, like, first off, that trade alone, even though it looks good, the Knicks get a lot for it. I don't like it because because of fantasy. Like, I do play a lot of fantasy basketball, and I have like different guys on my teams and stuff. I watched a lot of Denver, and the problem I have with those two dudes is, like, you need both of them, because when one's on, the other one's not. So it's like you got to have both of them dudes, man. I don't know what that's about, and that's part of the reason why, it's impressive what Jokic was able to do, because his help is not consistent. Now with Jeremy Grant, I think his knock. I mean, he's a strong defender, and he can score. But I feel like his scoring is inconsistent. Sometimes he would take games off, and then more importantly, he's a poor rebounder. Like, I don't think he even averaged 5 rebounds. One thing about him too that I noticed the past couple of years, he hasn't been that healthy. I don't know if he's played more than 50 games in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Not combined, but like each year.
Yeah. Interesting comment here. We don't need to boo Randle. We need to build his price up. if he's gonna go out. But it made me remember something that I was meaning to ask earlier. And so maybe you could elaborate more on this next week. But do you think his teammates should kind of stand behind him or stand up for him moving forward? And I say that because I don't see a instance where the fans kind of let it go and move on. I really don't. I think the majority, and it may not even be the majority, but I think they're going to be loud enough that you hear the boos and you know, even I think the majority of the content creation world, you know, I think the majority are over Randle and want to move on from him. But in the sense that in the question that if we're not, or if the Knicks aren't, right, and they're trying to keep building or hold on to him, do you think if the team kind of showed some solidarity publicly, do you think that would help more than just kind of letting it ride out and letting him deal with it personally on the court? If you understand what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah. I think it would help, but I think they kind of have done that as well. You know, you heard, you know, several times throughout the season when RJ was asked about Randle, and he's like, "What, the guy's giving us 20 and 10? You know, he's always doing this, and that." When Obi's asked about him, he's like, "Yeah, Randle's the first one to call me up and let me know about this or that, or pull me to the side to say I should do this or that when I'm having a game." So I think they've kind of stood up in that way. I don't think they're gonna come out against the fans though, you know, and say, "Hey, you all need to stop booing him because da da da." Now, you know, like the thing about, you know, if you're talking about like you know, them doing things together like out in the public, and you see Randle with the group, you know, with the group and this and that, I don't think Randle is that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Randle is kind of, you know, to himself, you know, him and his family. You know what I mean? Like even in the locker room, they say, you know, the team is over there. He kind of is over here, you know, getting himself together and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of who Randle is. So I don't think you're going to be seeing Randle out at this guy's party or, you know, out with the club with this team and stuff like that with players or doing things like that. You know, unless it's a team, the team says you need to do this.
Are you okay with that? Because I mean, me personally, even if that's not who he is, right? And he's a kind of private guy, and you know what I mean, everything is on court for basketball. I think, you know, sometimes you gotta kind of do things that you don't want to do. And I don't want to make it seem like a bad thing, like he don't want to do it, but like just showing some support. You know what I mean? So if your teammate's having a party, you could come in and just make an appearance. You don't have to stay for the party. You know what I mean? Like, and small things like that, I think that goes a long way. And not saying he doesn't or does do this, because we don't know. You know what I mean? But I think in the same way, I feel like his teammates should kind of make a conscious effort. And I agree with you. We have seen it throughout the season. I'm talking about like as a moving forward notion, because how bad can it get if everyone except the fans is ready to kind of just let the past be in the past, let bygones be bygones,
right?
You know what I mean? I think it could potentially get bad and ugly from a culture perspective. You know what I mean? We already know that it, regardless of what, it seeped into the locker room last year. You know, we heard Tibbs talk about that. We've seen it. Let's face it.
Yeah.
And again, you know what? We don't necessarily have to talk about. We could kind of save this for next week.
Enough stuff to talk about with Julius Randle. You can have multiple shows, so ain't worried about it. There's enough stuff to talk about him. You know what I'm saying? You can have multiple shows But I mean, it's hard because players going to be like that. Like Derrick Rose is probably like that as well. You know what I mean? He's just going to kind of be to himself, do his thing, come to work. And those guys might understand, like, I'm not at the party, but happy birthday, or, I'm going to give you a call or even give you a gift or something like that. But I'm not going to be at the party. I don't do that or something like that. You know what I mean? We don't know if those type of things go on. I mean, it would be nice, if every once in a while he showed up to some things, and he might. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I think the team and the players have his back. I do. I think that they like Randle, and whatever was happening last year, however it was going down, they probably know more than we do. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone in our group, in our group of content creators was going through something, and so when they came on the show, they were kind of, you know, feeling, frustrated or this or that, we may know and be like, okay, this is what's happening, and this is why it's like that. Other people that's watching and be like, yo, what's going on with Sim right now? Why is he like this? You know what I'm saying? But everybody else might know. And it could be something like that too. We just don't know inside the locker room. We haven't heard of any, like, I mean, you look back with Kobe and Shaq, we heard of fights breaking, Kobe and Shaq getting into fights in the locker room, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. We haven't heard of that yet.
Players choosing sides and all that. You know what I mean? Like, I got this click and he got that click.
Right. We haven't heard that yet. So,
yeah. And, I was going to say that I don't think it's going to happen because I don't see Tibbs doing it. But it would be really nice if somebody would, like, Tibbs. I think it could only be the coach. Yeah. I think it would have to be Tibbs. If Tibbs pulled Julius to the side and said, listen, the team loves you. We know what you do for the team behind the scenes. But show that same love that you got for these guys on the court. Like, because some of the things that he does, makes the fans feel like he's checked out. Now, these little things, if your man Obi gets knocked down right in front of you, don't walk past them.
And you know what, El? Not for nothing, and this is not defending him because I don't think it's right at all. Randle don't pick nobody up.
He don't.
He don't pick nobody up.
But that's what I'm saying. Those are the little things.
I agree.
Change those things. I think you think the guys stick up for him now when they ever asked about him. They'll run through a wall for this dude if he just continues to show that same. They don't care, man. When you're on a team, they know how hard it is to play in the NBA, and Randle decided to stay with the Knicks. They respect that. That's what I'm saying. If you do some of that stuff, I think it'll go a long way.
And maybe, those are some of the things that he learns during the off season too. You know what I'm saying? It's still a learning process for Randle. As much as people hate when I say that, I know they do. It's still a learning process for him, coming from being a guy that was, on the bench, right? On the bench, playing behind other players, and then being the guy. There's a learning process and transition there. And when you make mistakes like that, you learn from it. So, I mean, let's see. You never know. People might be, I'm sure he follows social media and people see this, people see that. His son might have been like, Dad, how come you didn't pick up Obi? You know what I mean? And maybe we'll see.
Yeah, the chat is going crazy. I know. Which is, I'm just glad I got the content out before the news.
We just talking about this dude, and this dude just got traded.
Yep.
Crazy. Bro.
That's crazy.
It definitely is.
I guess they don't feel the way I feel about him.
Hey,
this is what I'll say really quick before we move on to Christian Wood. If we're gonna spend some time on that, I don't even know if the Randle is the one of the older guys on the team. I don't know if it's on the younger guys to do anything to help him through this. I think this is something that he needs to do. I don't really think it should be on them to come out publicly and support him. That's Randle's role. If one of them is struggling, you know what I mean? So I think what they're doing right now is answering the questions truthfully when they're asked, but I don't think it's up to them to go out of the way to kind of rehabilitate his image. I think that's on Randle.
Yeah.
That's something Randle has to do. And Randle has to learn, like somebody said in the chat, to ignore the crowd. I think the crowd gets into his head and impacts his game.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play in New York and you want to be the number one option, that just can't happen.
Yeah.
I think that's
too sensitive.
great points.
But sometimes you have to go through those moments like you went through last year to make your skin tougher. You know what I'm saying? To get a little bit tougher, but like, okay, I know what's coming. Let me just focus on the basketball game and my teammates, coaches, and this and that, and keep all of that keep all of that out of my head. And I don't know if he could do that.
Right.
That's the thing.
I think that's an excellent point. And I don't know if I was saying it like the young guys or the team needs like why aren't they, or they should do it. I'm kind of looking at it as, do you think it would help? When I say help, I'm not necessarily saying help Randle, because it won't hurt Randle. You know what I mean? It could only help or not really do anything. I'm looking at it more from, will it help stop the noise? Because regardless of what, I feel like it's
fans
gonna
are vicious, Tony.
I mean, it
are they gonna turn? You think the Knicks fan base is gonna turn their back on the entire team?
No.
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even set them up to even say anything about the fans where they start getting some of the smoke too.
Yeah.
Nah.
But what they're gonna say, what the fans are gonna say is, well, they got to do that. That's their teammate, right? And they're gonna wipe it off to that.
He don't really mean that.
Yeah, he don't really mean that. We know what's going on in the locker room for real.
Right. People say that now. People say that now about Obi and RJ. Oh, he have to say that.
Yeah.
What else is he gonna say?
Right. So I don't think. But I agree. I agree with Steph. I think it's on Randle to be, if he's going to be the leader, it's on him to, when someone has a bad game or someone whatever, come out, show that support. And he's just got to, go through the fire. Yeah. I also think that the one thing I do think is that these guys do understand that right now Randle is taking the bullets for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's their bulletproof vest right now. And I think they understand that too, especially RJ. I think he understands that he's taking the bullets. And when it's no longer Randle, RJ is going to have to be the one taking the bullets.
Another great point, Sim. And I was just about to say, it's kind of like the opposite of what you're saying, but I agree with what you're saying 100%. And I think one of the biggest mistakes either he made or the organization, depending on whose idea or who orchestrated it, but when he stopped doing the press conferences.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that was one of the biggest problems that I think it just added to the problem of the initial boo and thumbs down and all that.
Right.
Because he didn't face the music. It was almost like he was hiding from it. You know what I mean? And I think that alone might change things. Like, either you're gonna like him or you're not gonna like him, regardless. But if he's facing the fans and the media and answering the questions day in and day out, I think at the very least you gotta respect them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question different from Randle with Christian Wood. Because they said, let me see, Adrian Wojnarowski says the Rockets are trading Christian Wood to Dallas for the 26th pick. And I think Boban, Trey Burke, and Marquise Chris are going to the Rockets. Christian Wood going to the Mavericks. I was just looking at the salaries, and the Mavericks, with bringing in Christian Wood, is adding about $5 million to their cap. Right.
Brunson.
So do you think this means, because I believe Dallas can go over the cap to sign Brunson, right? So do you think that this means that either they think Brunson is gone and they can't sign him, or does it mean we're already about to be over the cap by $30 million by signing Brunson? We might, another $5 million don't mean nothing.
But
I honestly think
to the hard cap.
Yeah, I think Brunson's gone.
They're close to the hard cap, I believe.
Because so right for for the Mavericks for next year, they're at 153 million. I think the cap is somewhere supposed to be 122, and this is without what to call his contract yet. Jalen Brunson's contract, right? So now that they have Christian Wood, that adds another $5 million on top of that, unless they have some other things happening. That takes them to 150, somewhere around 158, 159, where the cap is supposed to be 122.
What's the hard cap?
What's the
180?
hard cap?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking the hard cap is probably going to be 170 something.
Oh, so they have some.
That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure.
Have a little room.
I think this means Brunson's gone. Not necessarily to the Knicks, but I think not necessarily to the Knicks.
But who else wants Brunson besides the Knicks?
Detroit.
Pretty much Detroit.
But that would change in the draft if Detroit is able to get Dyson in the Ivy in the draft. If he falls to them, which I doubt, they're going to be out of the running for Brunson.
And I mean, here's the thing: regardless of what, it's Brunson's decision, right? So the question really is, if they were willing to go over the cap for Brunson to keep him, but he's not willing to stay, do they want to go over the cap for additional pieces that they would be compensated for in a signing trade? Or do they want to stay pat where they are, take the no compensation for Brunson and not spend even deeper into the salary cap? You know what I mean? Because they may be willing to go over the cap for him, but saying we don't want any loose parts as compensation that's going to count against the books if we're not keeping them.
Yeah, I don't know. So this is what I'm reading. On February 4th, the league informed teams of the projected $121 million salary cap and $147 million luxury tax line. Right, so anything over that, you got to start paying luxury tax over 147. I still don't see where the hard cap, where it just goes bam, you can't go over that amount. I don't see what it is right now.
And I've heard the hard cap like in discussions, but for some reason I feel like there's always a way around it. I feel like certain teams have maneuvered around that hard cap or already.
So the tax apron. So this is from Hoops Rumors. When a team becomes hard capped, it cannot exceed the tax apron, quote unquote, at any point during the rest of the league year. The tax apron for last year was set at 143 million.
Okay, so then that 147 must be the tax apron, but they're already over that. So how do you do that? If a team is over the tax apron from the previous year and they're going to be over in, the next year, how do they handle that? I guess
I think they have to get below it.
I thought the hard cap.
So Josh is saying there's no hard cap in the NBA.
Yeah, it's a repeated cap. It's a repeated tax, which is if you remain in that range, you start paying double, like dollar for dollar. Then it'd be like $2 for a dollar. You know what I mean? I think it's like a deterrent cap.
I guess it is that, but we've always heard, that you've always heard that hard cap, that at a certain point you get, here's the salary cap, then you have luxury tax, then you have bam, a cutoff. Or maybe you can't. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they referenced it as a hard cap, but it's really like.
But like reality says, you can't go you can't go above the tax apron. No team can exceed it, and that's basically a hard cap. You can't go above that tax apron.
Right.
But it says it also had like a fine print thing about like this year or whatever the wording was that you use. So I'm assuming like if you can't do it now, like today, the following year, I think you could, because at that point they would be saying, we don't care if this is your free agent. I mean, your guy with bird rights, you can't do nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
so
and
this
I don't
is
think
from the CBA breakdown, right? The tax apron is the amount above the tax level that cannot be exceeded by any team that uses the non-taxpayer mid-level exception or the biannual exception, or by any team that acquires a free agent in a sign and trade.
and that is true too, because I heard they couldn't do a double sign and trade. Like if we happen to be trying to send Mitch and get Brunson, they can't do the double sign and trade. Because of that cap situation. I think they could do a trade, but like they could sign and trade, and then we send back salary. But as far as a double sign and trade, they're not allowed to do it because of where they are in the salary cap. I just read that yesterday.
So we need to know what the tax apron is for this year coming up.
I think it's 147. But I guess if you do not use certain things,
then you can.
If you do not use the mid-level exception, if you do not use the biannual exception, or participate in a sign and trade or something like that, right? Because here's something else. It's important to note that if a team is below the apron, hold up, one second. Here we go. There is room between the luxury tax line and the apron. Okay. If you cross the apron, there are additional restrictions on your ability to sign players, included but not limited to a reduced mid-level exception. You cannot use the biannual exception. You cannot participate in signing trades. You cannot use the Gilbert Arenas rule. It's also important to note that if a team is below the apron and does one of the things prohibited for teams above the apron, it commits itself to remaining below the apron for the remainder of the season. So there you go. If you use the mid-level exception, or biannual exception, or a sign and trade, right, then
it's a hard cap for that year.
Hard cap for that year at that apron. It's a hard cap. You can't go over that apron.
But the following year you can't. You still have to stay within the guidelines.
Right.
But the following year you can't.
Right. So if a team uses the full mid-level exception, the biannual exception, and participates in a sign and trade, it becomes hard capped at the apron for the rest of the season. So if you don't use any of those exceptions, or you don't do a sign and trade, you just straight out sign players, then I guess you can go over that apron.
Or trade for them without it being a sign and trade.
Right, without it being a sign and trade. Right. Yeah.
So,
but then of course you're gonna pay like double your luxury tax.
That's why they got those guys in the front office that get the big bucks, but we don't really be knowing their name. Like that's their job. They figure these little nuances out.
Josh said there is no hard cap in the NBA. The tax apron places certain restrictions on teams that cross it, but you can go over the tax apron. So what I just read to you, there does become a hard cap when you use some of these different exceptions. You will be hard capped at the apron
for the year.
For the year, you'll be hard capped at the apron for that year if you use any of these mid-level exceptions, biannual exceptions, or a sign and trade. Then you will be hard capped at the tax apron. If you do not use any of those to acquire players, then you can go over that tax apron.
Yeah, and I think, well, that's, different people in the chat are saying that's the reason why they keep using the hard cap terminology, because it's easily referenced. Plus, it's just like it's easier to explain. It's a hard cap. Oh, hard cap, I can't go over it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the salary cap has been released. 122 million. Luxury tax starts. Did you say the SIM 149?
147.
Oh, 147. But this one is saying that it was higher than expected. But this,
I think it was a little bit higher, like two, I don't know, whatever million higher than what they thought. Even the this one says, so there's a couple of different. This one says that the salary cap's been set at 122, and the set at 149. So
yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
somewhere around there, somewhere around 121 and 147, or 122 and 149, somewhere around there. Either way, I guess the Mavericks, if you look at it though, looking at this offseason, I guess they're probably not going to do a sign and trade, and they're probably not going to use any of those exceptions because they got a pretty full roster, which means they could probably go way over that. For Jalen Brunson. I mean, that means they're going to be spending some serious, right now they're about $9 million over with over
the apron.
Yeah, $9 million. Right now with this trade, they're about $9 million over the apron.
Okay.
So it's pretty much. I mean, but yeah, they can still do trades, signing trades for Brunson. They just can't receive a sign and trade player.
Yeah, I guess right. They probably can't do that. Yeah.
And then that question arises: do they want to go way over for the loose parts that they're gonna receive in the sign and trade for Brunson?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think at that point you really got to value what you getting back, or you just say, nah, I'll lose them for nothing. You know what I mean?
Right. And the thing is, they're probably looking at next year. They're at $119 million, right? Which would come in under the salary cap, which would come in under the salary cap. Now, if they sign Brunson, well, actually, with the trade of with acquiring Christian Wood, they're now probably $4 or $5 million. Well, probably about $3 million or $4 million over the cap for next year, something like that. Let's just say it came in at 123 or 124. So maybe they're about $1 or $2 million over the salary cap for next year already. Then if they sign Brunson, they're going to be over the salary cap for next year.
Right.
But they got guys like Josh Green. He has a team option for next year. They could probably let that ride out. So there's probably ways that they can shed a little bit of money for next year, but I don't know. Maybe not, because for next year it's Tim Hardaway Jr., Spencer Dinwiddie, Davis Bertans, Luka, Reggie Bullock at $10.4 million for next year, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then Josh Green has a team option. I'm not sure where Christian Wood, his contract ends in 2022, 2023. So it ends next year. So yeah, they'd be under. So Christian Wood doesn't even add to their salary for 23, 24. So,
right.
And the Houston Rockets in the summer of 2023, their salary cap is $3.9 million.
Wow.
Wow.
That's what they owe.
Crazy.
That's what's guaranteed on their books for. I mean, you talk about starting from a clean slate.
Right. Right. But guys, I'm gonna hop on so I could be ready for Sim Show in about an hour. I got a few things I need to
no doubt.
I need to do. So I'll see you guys 10:30 or 10:15
we're gonna start at 10:30.
Okay. All right. I'll hop on a little earlier.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yes. Appreciate you, Queen. See you later.
All righty.
All right, Steph.
I mean, I think we could wrap it up. I want to get ready and prepared as well.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ben Perkins, trainer for Quentin Grimes, on at 10:30. Join us at 10:30. Ben Perkins is gonna from Perk Performance. He's gonna just talk to us a little bit about his regimen for the summer. Talk about Quentin Grimes and what they're working on, and talk a little bit about his development. So yeah, that's gonna be good.
For sure. Any last words, Ron?
No, man, that's dope. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna tune in. I wanna see what he has to say. I'm definitely interested to see what Grimes, I don't know how much he's gonna get into, but what Grimes is working on, and how he can kind of get his game to the next level in the NBA, because He was a much more dynamic player when he was younger, and he kind of honed in on one skill, the defensive end, and just working on that 3-point shooting. So I want to see if he kind of gets back to some of the other stuff when he was a point guard like that, just being able to move around the court and do different things, not necessarily being a facilitator and stuff. Yeah, so I'm interested to see that. And yeah, man, next week I got Dwayne Wade, and I'm gonna ask him about Donovan. No, I'm just messing around.
Let me shout out Josh for the super chat. Says 28 out of 30 teams were over the soft cap last year. 15 were at or over the luxury tax. Cuban is going all in and thinks Dallas can contend. Fair enough. I mean, I don't blame him. But yeah, that's the show, Sim. I mean, we gonna see you in the hour. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys. There's no show without you, Sim. There's definitely no show without you. And thanks for inspiring all us content creators.
Appreciate it. Man.
I'm not gonna play the outro, but I am gonna let you guys know that it's a week away.
The second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now.